Superhero narratives are often built upon the dynamic partnership between a seasoned hero and a younger, less experienced sidekick. While these junior partners often provide comic relief or a youthful perspective, some are thrust into situations that demand they rise above their supporting roles. This report will explore 10 such compelling characters who, through various circumstances, were compelled to take on greater responsibility, often leading them to become heroes in their own right. Initially introduced as Tony Stark's personal pilot, confidant, and loyal friend, James "Rhodey" Rhodes was a constant presence in Iron Man's life. Even in the early days, Rhodes occasionally donned the Iron Man armor when Stark was unable to, hinting at a potential for a more significant role. However, the true catalyst for Rhodes stepping up occurred during one of Tony Stark's darkest periods. Stark's debilitating battle with alcoholism left him incapable of fulfilling his duties as Iron Man, creating a void that needed to be filled. Driven by loyalty and a sense of responsibility, Rhodes reluctantly took on the mantle of Iron Man, piloting the advanced suit and confronting villains in Stark's stead. This period marked a significant turning point for Rhodes. He wasn't merely filling in, he was actively operating as Iron Man, joining the West Coast Avengers and facing formidable threats. While his tenure as Iron Man was eventually succeeded by Stark's return, Rhodes had proven his capability and courage. This experience paved the way for his eventual acquisition of his own unique armor, transforming him into War Machine, a distinct hero with his own arsenal and identity. Rhodes' military background and strong moral compass often provided a compelling contrast to Stark's more flamboyant and sometimes reckless approach to heroism. Interestingly, the character has also seen significant adaptation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with Terrence Howard initially portraying Rhodes before being replaced by Don Cheadle, a change that has garnered varied reactions from fans. Regardless of the actor, James Rhodes' journey from trusted friend to armored hero exemplifies a sidekick forced to step up due to unforeseen and challenging circumstances. Jon Stewart's introduction to the Green Lantern Corps was not through the traditional apprentice route, but rather out of necessity. An architect and former US Marine from Detroit, Stewart was selected by the Guardians of the Universe as a backup Green Lantern to Hal Jordan. This decision was prompted by the severe injury of the previous backup Lantern, Guy Gardner, who was struck by a car while attempting to save a civilian. Despite Hal Jordan's initial reservations about Stewart's perceived rebellious attitude towards authority, the Guardians stood firm in their choice, highlighting the urgency of needing a replacement. This forced entry into the Corps proved to be a pivotal moment for both Stewart and the Green Lantern legacy. Over time, Stewart evolved from a substitute Lantern to a central figure in the Corps, demonstrating exceptional willpower and strategic thinking. He even served as the primary Green Lantern of Earth for a period and eventually became the first mortal Guardian of the Universe, showcasing a remarkable ascension. Jon Stewart's significance extends beyond his in-universe achievements. His creation marked a crucial step towards greater racial diversity in superhero comics, resonating deeply with audiences, particularly through his portrayal in the Justice League animated series. His background as an architect, later combined with his military training, provided a unique perspective on using the power ring, emphasizing creativity and tactical precision. The circumstances of Guy Gardner's injury, while unfortunate for Gardner, ultimately paved the way for the emergence of a beloved and groundbreaking hero in Jon Stewart. Kamal Khan's journey to becoming a superhero was fueled by admiration and opportunity. A Pakistani-American teenager from Jersey City, Kamala was an avid fan of Carol Danvers, the hero known as Ms. Marvel. When Carol Danvers ascended to the mantle of Captain Marvel, the name Ms. Marvel became available. Shortly thereafter, Kamala discovered she possessed inhuman genes, granting her remarkable body-morphing abilities. Inspired by her idol and the chance to make a difference, Kamala took on the Ms. Marvel moniker, effectively stepping up to carry on a heroic legacy. This transition was not simply about adopting a name. Kamala became a significant hero in her own right, navigating the challenges of teenage life while wielding her unique powers. Her character resonated deeply with a new generation of readers, particularly young Muslim women, providing much-needed representation in mainstream superhero comics. Kamala's initial struggles with controlling her powers and balancing her superhero life with her cultural and familial expectations made her a relatable and human character. Her journey highlights how the evolution of established heroes can create opportunities for new characters to emerge and carry forward inspiring legacies. The circumstances of Carol Danvers' growth to Captain Marvel directly facilitated Kamala's rise as the new Ms. Marvel, demonstrating a form of force stepping up driven by the changing landscape of the superhero universe. Tim Drake's path to becoming a hero was marked by both determination and the shifting dynamics within the Bat family. Following the tragic death of the second Robin, Jason Todd, Tim, a young and brilliant detective, deduced the identities of Batman and the original Robin, Dick Grayson. Concerned by Batman's increasingly dark and reckless behavior after Jason's demise, Tim sought out Dick, who had become Nightwing, urging him to return to the role of Robin, believing Batman needs a Robin. When Dick declined, Tim, feeling compelled to help the troubled Dark Knight, stepped up and eventually convinced a reluctant Bruce Wayne to train him as the third Robin. Years later, after Bruce Wayne's apparent death and Dick Grayson's assumption of the Batman mantle, Damian Wayne, Bruce's biological son, became the new Robin. This left Tim Drake, a seasoned hero in his own right, without a clear place within the new Bat family structure. Feeling somewhat displaced and no longer fitting the traditional sidekick role, Tim was forced to forge his own identity. He adopted the moniker Red Robin, embarking on a global quest to prove that Bruce Wayne was still alive. This transition showcased Tim's independence and his evolution beyond the Robin persona. While he later briefly used the name Drake and eventually returned to the Robin identity, his initial move to Red Robin was a clear instance of a sidekick stepping up to define his own heroic path in the face of changing circumstances. Jason Todd's story is a tragic tale of forced evolution through death and resurrection. Initially the second Robin, Jason was known for his rebellious and often violent tendencies, a stark contrast to his predecessor Dick Grayson. His tenure as Robin ended tragically when he was brutally murdered by the Joker in a storyline famously influenced by a fan poll. This event had a profound and lasting impact on Batman, fueling his guilt and shaping his future actions. However, Jason's story didn't end there. Years later, he was resurrected through the machinations of Talia al Ghul and the Lazarus Pit. This return from the dead fundamentally changed Jason. Feeling betrayed by Batman, who hadn't avenged his death, and disillusioned with the hero's non-lethal methods, Jason embraced a darker path. He took on the identity of the Red Hood, a moniker once associated with the Joker, using lethal force and operating as a vigilante who often clashed with Batman and the rest of the Bat family. Jason's forced transformation into the Red Hood introduced a morally complex anti-hero to the DC universe, challenging the traditional boundaries of heroism. His journey highlights a sidekick who, through traumatic and irreversible circumstances, was compelled to step up in a drastically different and controversial role, forever altering his relationship with his former mentor and the superhero community. Barbara Gordon's evolution from Batgirl to Oracle is a powerful example of a hero forced to adapt and redefine her role after a devastating event. The daughter of Commissioner James Gordon, Barbara was a highly skilled martial artist, detective, and computer expert who operated as Batgirl. Her career as a costume crime fighter took a horrific turn when she was brutally attacked and paralyzed from the waist down by the Joker in the graphic novel The Killing Joke. This tragic event seemingly ended her time as Batgirl, forcing her to confront a new reality. However, Barbara's heroism did not end with her paralysis. Utilizing her exceptional intellect and computer skills, she reinvented herself as Oracle, a master information broker and hacker. From her wheelchair, Oracle provided crucial intelligence and tactical support to countless heroes, including the Birds of Prey, which she co-founded. Her time as Oracle established her as an iconic disabled hero, demonstrating that physical limitations do not equate to a diminished capacity for heroism. Later in her comic book history, Barbara regained her mobility and returned to the Batgirl role, showcasing a remarkable recovery. Nevertheless, her forced transition to Oracle remains a pivotal moment, highlighting her resilience and her ability to step up and become an even more influential figure in the superhero community despite overwhelming adversity. Roy Harper, originally known as Speedy, was Green Arrow's first and longest-serving sidekick, renowned for his archery skills. Their partnership, however, was fractured by a significant personal crisis that forced Roy to step away and confront his own demons. In the groundbreaking 1971 storyline Snowbirds Don't Fly, it was revealed that Roy had developed a heroin addiction. This revelation was a landmark moment in comic book history, as it addressed mature and socially relevant themes in a way that was unprecedented at the time. Green Arrow's reaction to this discovery was one of anger and disappointment, leading to Roy being kicked out. This forced Roy to confront his addiction and embark on a difficult journey towards recovery, often with the help of Black Canary and Green Lantern. After overcoming his addiction, Roy felt a need to establish his own identity, no longer content to be seen solely as Green Arrow's sidekick. He adopted the name Arsenal, becoming a more independent and formidable hero. Later, with Green Arrow's blessing, he briefly took on the mantle of Red Arrow, symbolizing his growth and his standing as an equal to his former mentor. Roy's forced departure from Green Arrow due to his addiction and his subsequent journey to becoming Arsenal and Red Arrow highlight a powerful narrative of personal struggle, resilience, and ultimately stepping up to forge one's own heroic legacy. Bucky Barnes holds a unique position on this list, as his stepping up involved a tragic and involuntary transformation. Initially Captain America's loyal teenage sidekick during World War II, Bucky seemingly met his end during a mission. However, he was captured by Hydra, the Nazi science division, and subjected to horrific experimentation and brainwashing by Arnim Zola. This process turned him into the Winter Soldier, a mind-controlled super assassin with a powerful bionic arm, forced to carry out Hydra's deadly will throughout the 20th century. For decades, Bucky was a weapon, his actions dictated by Hydra's programming, a stark and tragic contrast to his earlier heroic role. It wasn't until a confrontation with Captain America years later that fragments of his memory began to resurface, leading to a long and arduous journey of regaining his true identity and breaking free from Hydra's control. After Steve Rogers' supposed death following the Civil War storyline, Bucky stepped up to honor his friend's legacy by taking on the mantle of Captain America himself. This was a significant moment of redemption for a character who had been forced into a life of villainy. Bucky's story is a compelling exploration of brainwashing, free will, and the potential for even those who have been used for terrible purposes to reclaim their heroism. Wally West's journey from Kid Flash to the Flash is a quintessential example of a sidekick forced to step up in the face of tragedy. As Kid Flash, Wally was the energetic and beloved sidekick of Barry Allen, the Silver Age Flash, and a founding member of the Teen Titans. He gained his speed through an accident mirroring Barry's own, forging a strong bond with his mentor. However, Wally's life took a dramatic turn during the Crisis on Infinite Earths, a universe-altering event in which Barry Allen sacrificed his life to save the multiverse. Barry's heroic death left a void, and Wally, feeling the weight of his mentor's legacy and the responsibility to protect Central City, was compelled to step up and become the new Flash. Initially, Wally struggled with the pressure of living up to Barry's legendary status, but over time, he not only embraced the role, but also surpassed his predecessor in the eyes of many fans, becoming a powerful and beloved Flash in his own right. His tenure as the Flash saw significant expansions to the Flash mythos, including the deeper exploration of the Speed Force. Wally's forced ascension after Barry's death solidified the concept of legacy heroes in the DC universe, proving that a sidekick could indeed inherit and even elevate the mantle of their mentor. Dick Grayson, the original Robin, stands as the paramount example of a sidekick who was repeatedly forced to step up and evolve. Introduced as a young circus acrobat orphaned by tragedy, Dick was taken in by Bruce Wayne and became Batman's first and most iconic partner. As Robin, he was instrumental in Batman's war on crime, but as he matured, Dick felt the need to establish his own identity and move beyond the shadow of the Bat. This desire for independence, coupled with various circumstances, led him to forge his own heroic path as Nightwing. The decision to become Nightwing was a significant step, allowing Dick to develop his own fighting style, leadership skills as the head of the Teen Titans, and a distinct heroic persona. However, Dick's stepping up didn't end there. On multiple occasions, when Bruce Wayne was either presumed dead or incapacitated, Dick was forced to take on the mantle of Batman. These instances showcased his exceptional training, tactical mind, and deep understanding of what it meant to be Batman, proving he was more than capable of assuming his mentor's role. Dick Grayson's journey from Robin to Nightwing and his times as Batman have not only defined his own character, but have also paved the way for the concept of legacy within the DC universe, making him arguably the most successful and influential sidekick in comic book history. The stories of these 10 superhero sidekicks highlight a compelling theme within superhero narratives: the capacity for growth and the assumption of greater responsibility when circumstances demand it. Whether through tragedy, personal crisis, or the natural progression of time, these characters were forced to step up and evolve beyond their initial roles, often becoming heroes of significant stature and impact in their respective universes. Their journeys resonate with audiences because they embody the timeless narrative of overcoming adversity and rising to meet unexpected challenges, proving that even those who start in a supporting role have the potential to become the stars of their own heroic sagas. If you enjoy seeing heroes rise to the challenge, you'll love our video on the top 10 most powerful Daredevil villains that could defeat the Avengers. Click the video on the screen to watch now.